Hey, I'm Scotty T from Your Comedy Minute. I have Julie with a G. Julie with a G with me today, a comedian, a model, entrepreneur, just a fantastic young lady. Julie with a G. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Scott.
It's my pleasure. I told you before we started recording, you scare the shit out of me.
You're not the first person to tell me
Yeah,
that.
I was hoping you'd tell them that you say that you have that
Oh,
effect. Do you have that effect on men overall?
men overall, women, children,
Yeah. What
animals.
am I thinking? Probably women too. Women are like,
Apparently I'm intimidating, but like my friends
yeah,
actually describe me as a Sour Patch Kid because I'm like sour on the outside but sweet on
you're
the inside.
scary as shit. You're scaring me now. I moved back a little bit. I'm scared.
I have the nails
Yeah,
too.
it's not the nails, it's the look. Let's start.
Yeah.
You're in New York.
I'm in New York, originally from Chicago, but I've lived all
Okay.
over.
Okay.
Lived in Seattle, Arizona,
Okay.
came to New York about 5 years ago to pursue comedy. But because like I work advertising marketing, New York life nuts, in the sense of like work-life balance. So I didn't
Okay.
actually get into comedy up until about a year and 3 months ago.
Okay. Was
But
there, let me interrupt you for a second.
yeah,
Was there a catalyst a year and 3 months ago that said Julie with a G? Yeah, we never even touched on your name. Let's go back and visit your name
sure,
real quick.
yeah. Touch
No,
on my
but no,
name.
let's go forward. The catalyst when you said a year and 3 months ago, I'm going to do comedy. Was there something that,
I left my job that was super corporate,
okay,
and I was basically going back and forth on if I was going to move or stay in New York.
okay,
And I was like, well, I can't leave New York without actually trying comedy.
okay,
But why I wanted to get into comedy in general is I love performing. I love being on stage.
okay,
I did like speech and debate as a kid. I was a theater kid.
okay.
And I mean, I didn't want to be a politician. So like stand-up comedy felt like the next best option in terms of getting to be on stage.
You know what? I'm starting to figure it out. You have a presence about you. You have a presence.
I
You come down
command
the pipes. You have a presence. When you come down the pipes, man, I can see you sitting back. When you come down the pipes, woo wee. All right,
it.
so starting to piece it together a little bit, Julie,
We're
with
just
the
getting
G.
to know me.
I'm starting to, yeah, yeah. I'm already warming up. All right, so modeling. You did some
Yeah.
modeling. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, of course. So I think, shoot, 2.5. Well, I was a model as a kid. So my mom got me into modeling at a very young age.
Can you
Then I
just
would
tell me a
say,
little about that? What did you do?
sure. I was in like Toys R Us ads.
Okay.
I was in, oh shit, like what is it called? It's like a Spirit Halloween, but I was in a
Okay. All
lot of
right.
like those types of like ads.
Okay.
Um and basically like I loved the camera. Like it's funny because my mom tells me I was shy and timid growing up, and I'm like, what?
Yeah,
How is that
I don't get that
possible?
one. That one,
No, I
that
know.
one,
Like
I
now I
don't
want
get
espresso
it.
martini. I'm dancing.
I'm moving back again. I'm moving back
Yeah.
again. Go
But
ahead.
so like to get me out of my shell, she put me in modeling, she put me in theater, dance, like basically all the big things. And then turns out I loved it.
Okay.
Um, didn't pursue it too much, but then a couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to audition for New York Fashion Week because it's actually kind of hard to find like plus size models because that's what I'm
All right.
technically classified as. And I did really well, got casted in a couple shows, and then I've actually been in New York Fashion Week 3 times now, and I've done some fit
Wow.
modeling. I did a shoot a couple weeks ago. Um,
Congratulations, Julie.
thank you,
Congratulations.
thank you.
That's fantastic.
It's just apparently I'm photogenic.
Yeah, you got something going on. I feel like I'm hypnotized right now. No, keep going. So the modeling thing, are you still doing that? You said just this week or
A couple weeks ago, I had a shoot. I
okay.
have a
Yeah.
shoot in September, I
Okay.
think. If I can't remember if it's locked in,
Yeah.
but it's something. It's in passing. If people approach me and come up to me for it, I'm definitely like willing to do it as long as it doesn't overlap with comedy. The reality is, I do so many different things that I burn the candle at all ends.
Yeah, yeah,
Where,
yeah.
like if it fits in, then I'm always down to do it.
Okay. What do you
But
think
I
about
definitely prioritize comedy
what do you
first.
think about the blind Barbie? Did we talk about this before?
We did it, but I mean, I
I'm
think,
sorry. No, let's move on.
yeah,
We can move on. Something else I told you that you said you didn't know because it just came up. It was all over the
yeah.
TV this morning that Jennifer Lopez filed for divorce from Ben Affleck.
I mean, you definitely just informed me of that. I'm not surprised,
Yeah, yeah.
but
You know why I'm laughing? He didn't look happy the whole time.
yeah, and
He
Jennifer
didn't
did
look.
this
He
whole.
looked miserable the entire time.
Did you watch her documentary?
No, no, I didn't. But I, well, I thought. No, wait. You go. You go. There's
So
so much there.
she did a documentary
I
of
heard
like
about it.
the love story never told, the longest love story never told.
Yeah,
And by the
right,
way,
right,
she shopped around this movie to everybody, and nobody signed up for it. Like
right,
no
right.
major company wanted to buy the rights to this movie. And she was like, I'm Jennifer Lopez, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. And I was like, I feel like that should be note to self. If literally every professional company isn't willing to invest in J Lo, you should maybe look in the mirror and think, I shouldn't be doing this project, this passion project, this $50 million passion project. But like she did this like musical movie ensemble, whatever you want to call it. Then she did a documentary about filming it, and Ben Affleck and the whole thing. He's like, I didn't tell her to do it, but you know, Jennifer's gonna do what Jennifer wants to do. And like, yeah, he didn't look happy. I mean, you know,
Well,
second
here
wife, third wife, I don't even
I'll throw
know.
in a couple of my little tidbits that I
Yeah.
know. She because I before I started doing these with Zooms, I used to do a Your Comedy Minute, and I did something about where she started her liquor company. She
Okay.
formed like a tequila, Jennifer Lopez tequila.
Does it even
She
exist
doesn't
anymore?
drink, and she
Oh,
doesn't
God.
drink. I said, "Well, I ain't trusting that shit." She doesn't drink. I trust stuff people that drink. And that pissed off Ben because he's like a recovering alcoholic.
Right.
And then how about her tour where she had to cancel the tour because they weren't selling tickets? I don't mean to laugh. Something wrong with me.
It's so interesting because she's so successful. She's so beautiful. But like, maybe it's the business side of things that she just doesn't get. I don't
Well,
know.
I think when you whore yourself out, did I say that out loud?
You did. But
I
she's
shouldn't.
defying all odds. She hasn't aged. Plastic
Yeah,
surgery works, even though she says she hasn't done it.
well, we got off the path a little bit.
All right.
Let's get back. No, and it's my fault. It's all my fault. This whole thing is my fault. It's your comedy minute.
As
It's
long as you're
I'm
taking
taking
blame,
the
I'm
heat.
fine.
I'm the Ben Affleck on this deal. It is your comedy minute. So
Yeah.
tell me about your favorite show, and then of course your least favorite show.
Yeah, I think my favorite show, it was at the Stand in New York City. Um, and it was, and I think it's the only reason I can call it my favorite show is because it's the first time I felt
Excuse me.
accomplished in the room. The room was super cold. The first five comics before me were barely getting like chuckles and laughs
Right.
here and there. And I was like, honestly, I walked on stage and I was like, I want to see how loud this room can get. So I'm like, validate me, damn it. And then literally it's like this roaring laugh. I'm like, okay, so they have it in them. They have it in them to laugh. And I went on and did my set and they were with me the whole time, which was great. And literally after that, like every comic came up after me, like, oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Like you really turned the room around. So I feel like that's like the first time I've ever like seen
And
myself
where was that? Where was that at?
at the Stand. It's
Okay.
in the East Village, I think, on
Okay.
16th in New York.
Okay. Now, you know I
Yeah.
love it. The least favorite show.
My least favorite show. Feel like I have a lot, but I'll pick
Well, yeah, yeah, you do a couple of those.
the worst first. We have the time Broadway Comedy Club. It's like basically set up like a basement lunchroom, if you will. It
Okay.
seats about 300 people. And it's really hard. Like if you're not delivering and connecting with them, you're not really bringing them on board. Also, half the time the audience is from like a different country because they get barked in from Times Square and it's just like
Okay.
people who just don't know any better. But literally, I had like the audience like giving me feedback during my set, and I was like, maybe like at this point 6 months into comedy, not even, and I didn't know how to react to them, so I kind of just like froze. And then it got to the point where I got into like debate mindset, and then I like rattled off the rest of my set because I was like, just get me the fuck off this stage. I would say that was like probably one of my worst. But then it'll never beat the time I went to like Hempstead, Long Island. It
Okay.
was a bar show, and there was like one person in the audience, but I was like being paid to be there, so I had to do the set. And this woman was not interested. And I talk about some heavy stuff. I joke about the fact that I got a DUI. It didn't connect with her because her son got a DUI, and she came up to me afterwards to tell me, which was a little bit uncomfortable. Because she's like, you're joking about DUI in jail. That's not how jail was. I'm like, that's how jail was for me. I made friends. Okay. I like it, like you do what you gotta do. It's all based off personality, you know? I shared a cell with somebody who stabbed her boyfriend 11 times. But like we were friends. Like I wasn't intimidated by her. She didn't have anything. She wasn't whittling like a toothbrush into a knife. Like we got along, right? Like we like Cheetos and we
Wait,
like
wait, 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 wait,
Bravo.
wait, 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 wait. Your cellmate or your was someone stabbed her husband 11 times?
Her boyfriend 11 times. She was on
Okay. All right.
psychedelic.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, she was on psychedelics. Her boyfriend didn't press charges
And
because
you two were peas.
thick as thieves. We're still friends. I'm still friends with my
Thick as
corrections
thieves.
officers.
Oh
My,
my
my
God.
corrections officers loved me. They follow me on Instagram. They send me heart emojis all the time on all the things that I'm
Yeah.
doing.
This scared thing I picked up on. Comedians that inspired you and comedians that you like now.
Comedians that inspired me.
You can do
Eliza,
either one.
Eliza Schlesinger for sure because I feel like
I'm
she
sorry, I coughed over it. Say it again.
Eliza Schlesinger.
Yeah.
I think she has a different style, and what I appreciate about what she brings to the stage is like she is truly herself. It doesn't feel like she's like putting on like I'm gonna make like when she became a mom, she didn't only talk about being a mom, which I respect. I
Yeah.
think a lot of times, like with comics, like as I've seen their like careers evolve, they get very much in this nutshell. But what I appreciate about Eliza and what inspires me about her is she can talk about anything and everything, and I find it hilarious. I also respect the fact that like she's got every tagline she has, it's like the audience crescendos in terms of laughter
Mhm.
because it's like her tags just build, build, build. And like that's just like genius writing, right? Like if she's got that many, that means she couldn't pick one, but everyone loves them all. And I
Yeah.
respect the hell out of that.
I just had Vanessa Hollingshead on.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Vanessa is one of the most respect. I think she's a comedy genius. And she talked
100%.
about that, where she can take a bit and, it's 7 minutes long and you pepper little things in along the way. And, it's one little set, but I mean, just, yeah, I agree with you 100%.
It's
Any other
impressive.
comedians or I think, tell me I thought there was another one or two that or comedians that you like now, either way, whatever you
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
do.
yeah. Also comedians that like inspired me to like get on stage. This is in 2021. I was at a show at Gotham. Alex Babette, Mr. Babette is his like Instagram name and handle.
Okay.
He I remember I loved his set. I went up to him afterwards. I was like, I've been thinking about getting into comedy, and he's like, you really should. He's like, I picked up on your energy in the crowd. He's like, I pick up on your like, how that intimidating energy you felt. Like he thought that would make a good
Yeah,
comedian.
you have
Um,
presence. You have definitely.
so
Yeah.
he kind of like pushed me. He like solidified me wanting to take a class and doing it. I actually ran into him a couple weeks ago at the Cellar, and I was like, hey, I don't know if you remember me. He's like, I remember you, but I don't remember you. And then I explained the whole thing. And then what I appreciated about that was like he literally said he had the same feedback that he did for me in 2021 that he did now.
Good.
He's like, your energy's on fire. He's like, I feel like you probably have killer stage presence. And then he challenged me. I want you to get on a show with me and like put the fear of God in me. Cause like, then I know like you've gotten there, you've excelled. And uh,
Cool.
he's actually going to be on. I'm producing a show in September 14th. It's a brunch show, and he's going to be on it. So it's like worlds colliding.
Listen, take a second. It's your comedy minute. Tell the people because
Yeah.
I owe you one. I'm gonna get this on the air next week. I promise you.
Oh, love that. So
I'm gonna move you up. I mean, you scare me, but I'm gonna move you up.
I'm producing my very first comedy show. It's going to be a brunch show, 1 p.m. at St. Mark's in the East Village in New York. I have literally a killer lineup from Mr. Babette. I've got Caitlin Palufo. I've got Chanel Ali as my host. Alexis Carabino, who owns St. Mark's Comedy Show or St. Mark's. I've also got Leclerc Andre, who's amazing. He was on Jimmy Fallon. He's on Don't Tell. He's blowing up. His stories that he tells on stage, I think are insane and hilarious. And then headlining, I have Leah Sampson, who like opened for Bill Burr. She's also blowing up. I think she's an incredible female comic. But I'm basically trying to bring some of the best talent to this stage for a brunch show because not everybody wants to be out past 8 p.m. And who doesn't want to see a bunch of pro comics plus little old me during the day? Because I think you can still drink and have a good time at 1 p.m. I want to make brunch comedy a thing.
Huh.
And that's my MO.
You can drink and do one of these.
Yes.
You posted I saw on Instagram, keeping up with Gen Z. Tell the people about that.
Yeah,
Is that right? What's it called?
Yes, called Keeping Up with Gen Z. There's 4 episodes out. Elisa Brown is the writer and curator of it. She's amazing. She's hilarious. She's actually one of my comedy besties.
Okay.
But she loves Gen Z. She wants to be Gen Z. I think it's the stupidest thing on earth. And we've kind of crafted this like role of me being me in it. I think it's the 3rd episode. I basically she's holding auditions for Gen Z because like for a Gen Z bestie. And I'm basically there, tough bitch on her phone, like this is so fucking stupid. And then she literally puts on the most recent episode, Gen Z Boot Camp, where she's hitting on all the trends, all the topics, no show socks, tuck in, tuck out, and she wants me to put on a bucket hat, and it's the stupidest fucking thing ever. I like look like a cow, but I did it. I did it out of support because again, I'm a Sour Patch Kid. I might be tough on the outside, but I'm sweet on the inside. I do it for the people.
Okay.
Okay, on to the next.
No, I'm just trying to get through this thing, man. You scare the hell out of me. Besides the show coming up there, is there anything else you want to mention to the folks as far as upcoming gigs and what you got planned?
Sure. If this is coming out next week.
Yeah, next week, late next week, beginning of the following, if not, but we'll get it out.
I think my shows aren't per se solidified between then. I think then by the time this airs, it's going to be
okay.
Probably the September 14th. There's some stuff that's in flux, but
okay. Do you want to tell people about Gylije with a G?
Yeah. So I was named after my aunt who passed away before I was born.
Okay.
She passed away with breast cancer on my mom's side, so that's like kind of how I was named. My mom claimed she always had like this like dream of having a daughter named Julia, and to be fair, it used to be longer. It was like Julietta.
Okay.
But for like the longest time, I went by like Julie up until like high school when I was doing like the SATs, ACTs, because you have to like put your name the way it's spelled on your birth certificate. And I had to learn how to spell my name when I was like 17.
I have to admit, I looked at it, I said, what the hell is this? Was
Yeah.
it Jylijej?
Gylije.
Yeah, I said and how you get Julie out of that? Okay. I
I joke that my mom like used
yeah.
T9 to spell it, but the reality is it would have been my grandparents because they originated it. Also,
Okay.
fun story, as of 2017, I'm the only living Gylije in the
Yeah,
United
I would
States and
think.
Europe. There's a lot of fake profiles in India, and I always like connect with them on LinkedIn and Facebook, but then all of a sudden they magically disappear.
All right. Let's move on. Yeah, I love that the bit you do about that, about your parents, or your parents named you and how they come up with the name. What was your first show like? How was that very first show back, I guess, in Arizona?
It was interesting. I basically didn't really have a set, but I like told my friends I was going to do a show. And
Right.
literally 24 hours before that, we decided to go to San Diego for the
Okay.
night because I was living in Arizona. And my friend had just broken up with her
Let me
boyfriend.
guess, you were a little crinkled.
I
Is that
was a little
right?
all over the place. I went really fast. I watch back that tape sometimes and I'm like, cringe.
Yeah.
Um, and then when I say I like reintroduced myself into comedy like a year and 3 months ago,
Okay.
that show was great just because so many people came out to support me. But like
Okay.
when I look back at the tape, I'm like, ugh, like I'm so
Yeah.
performative. It's wild.
Yeah.
When I compare.
You consider yourself a lucky person.
Yes,
Okay.
I
You
do.
want to do you want to tell the folks about that?
Yeah, I think because like I am very multifaceted and like in the sense of I've accomplished and done a lot of things that most people haven't
Right.
and
Right.
probably won't in their life.
Well, go
I
ahead. Go ahead. Tell the people a little about
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So I've started side businesses where like I in college I help people plan 21st birthday parties and Vegas
Okay.
trips to or bachelorette parties to Vegas. I've been fortunate enough to like basically grow in my career very quickly compared to other people.
Okay.
And I usually a lot of people hear like, oh, I stay at a company for a year and a half. Like that's a faux pas. But the reality is I'm like, I almost double my salary year on year and not very
Right.
many people can say and do that. I'm
Yeah.
also fairly highly desirable in my field when it comes to advertising, marketing, and branding.
Okay. Right.
So I've created this like unique space for myself
Okay.
of being just multifaceted in what I'm able to accomplish.
Okay.
Also, I don't know, I live in an apartment in New York. I'm not struggling per se. So I've
Well,
considered
and I guess because I never know with the bits whether it's, I thought there was some jail time involved.
Oh, I mean, I've been to jail. Yeah, twice.
I'm sorry. If you haven't seen, Scotty T loves I love the sick, silly stuff. You're not gonna check. I really be serious for so long, but I
Oh
watched
yeah.
that bit, and that's why I wanted to throw you that softball. That you consider yourself lucky because you do a whole bit about that.
Yeah, I'll
And,
say
and you're before you go into it, you're telling me part of it's true.
I would say most of it's true. I would actually say
Well,
90% of my comedy
yeah.
is there are
Well, go
some
ahead.
elements of exaggeration. Also, so like the whole bit is on, to be fair, the petting a police horse, I didn't get arrested for that. The cop let me off.
Well, now
Uh,
people don't even know what happened.
so I opened my bit with like, I consider myself a lucky person.
Hang on, hang on, hang on, hang on. Now I'm confused because I thought you really got arrested for petting a police horse.
No, it was a DUI and then possession of
I had one of those. I had one of those. I never petted a police horse, but I had a DUI.
yeah. DUI in college. I mean, they were like accessories in Arizona at that point. But
I
they also like it's no joke out there though. I did 42 days.
no, I actually touched a police officer and almost got arrested one night.
Yeah.
And all I did was touch him. I just like touched his.
Assault. That's assault.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. He said, "You know, I could arrest you right now." I'm like, and I was drunk. I'll be
Yeah.
honest, I was drunk. Hey, somebody's car backed out into my car. Was I'm in my house drinking, partying, and here comes this cop knocking on my door. Hey, somebody went into your. And he's like, "Yeah, it's okay." I said, "How do you know it's okay?" And he's turning. I'm like, I touched him, and before you know it, I'm almost arrested.
I was in Tempe, Arizona. It was St. Patrick's Day. There's a lot of horses down there. And I was like petting the back of the horse, and I was not sober, of course. It's St. Patrick's Day. Uh, and the cop's like, just so you know, petting a horse is considered assaulting an officer. And I was like, I pet, and this is true. I'm like, I pet plenty of human cops. No one's complaining.
Yeah,
And I'm like, and the horse seems to like it. Like, I was real sassy with it. I feel like I'm a horse whisperer too, to be fair. I'm an animal
okay.
whisperer overall. But he let me off. He thought I was cheeky. And
Cheeky.
well, just because I like
That's a good impression. That's good. That's a good word.
I mean, that's what he said. I was like, he's like, not very many people are like that. I'm like, well, yeah, I know, I'm special. Like,
You are special.
but no, DUI and possession of paraphernalia are the
Oh, okay. Oh,
violence.
I've done that too. I
Yeah.
had that happen too, but I don't. We don't want to talk about that.
And to be fair, also in my bit, people always ask if my cellmate that I talk about,
Yeah.
if she's real. Yes, my cellmate did stab her boyfriend 11 times.
Wow.
hmm But she was on psychedelics. He didn't press charges, so that's why she was in minimum security.
Wow. Wow, Julie with a G. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot going on here. Well, the next thing is another bit you do about a therapist, about your therapist.
Yeah.
You want to
Uh,
tell? You want to do a little of that?
sure. My therapist constantly pushes me to like step outside of my comfort
Right.
zone.
Yeah.
And to be fair, like I'm a little bougie, right? Like I like nice things, I do nice
Okay.
things, and like she tells me that I don't take her assignments seriously.
Right.
Because she's like, what did you do like this week that like pushed you out of your comfort zone? I was like, well, I
Right.
did take the stairs. And she's
Yeah.
like, really, that's like a workout. Like
Yeah.
that.
For
I'm
me
like,
too.
well, it was uncomfortable.
Right. Right. Right.
um, I say I flew coach. I don't fly coach anymore, but it would make me feel
Damn.
uncomfortable.
This thing. Your
Yeah.
Easter eggs are too colored to be.
I use
Your Easter
miles.
eggs
I've
are too
got
colored to be
airline
in my
status.
basket. Golly.
Uh,
Wow.
and well, then, okay, just for context, I talk about fucking a midget. I actually had
Yeah.
someone
Yeah.
in LA tell me like how offensive it was for me to say that. And they were also a little person. And this is the
I was
first
just gonna
time.
say, were you supposed to say you fucked a little person?
Yeah, this happened in June. And of course it happens in LA, but the guy like came up to me and he's starting yelling at me, pointing his finger.
Was he a little
He was a
guy?
little person. He was a little person. He said, your stuff was great up until that point. Now I've lost respect for you. And he's like spitting in my face. And I
Wow.
was like, are you just pissed it wasn't you? Like, I just wasn't in the mood. Like,
And 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 do you want to finish the bit? It's not even a real midget. The guy was
he's
like
not even a
five
real
eight.
midget. He's 5'8". Like,
Yeah, yeah.
he's under 6 feet. Like,
Oh, Julie with a G.
to be
You're
fair, I'm not a heightist. My rule of thumb is
heightest. Oh my God. There's a new word for me. There's my word of the day, heightest. I've never heard that before, Julie.
I don't wear heels. So as long as we're around the same height, I'm actually good. A
What's
buddy of
what's
mine,
it?
he's
What's it?
another
Stop making fun
comic.
of my height. I didn't know you had such a short temper.
But a buddy of mine, he's 5'8". He did a set after mine. He hadn't heard that joke at that point. And he's like, well, I just learned something today. I'm considered a midget. I'm like,
Yeah. Well, heightist, that's he gave me one. Like I'll be walking around all day going, I may be a heightist.
yeah.
What?
Yeah, I want to be a second wife.
Yeah.
Well,
See,
I genuinely believe in this, actually. Like I've come
yeah.
to the conclusion realistically. Because when I've dated men who've never been married,
Right.
that's trash, right? But like
Okay.
when I have gone out with people who had been married, at least they like know how to show up to a like relationship. Like
Right.
they conned a
Yeah.
woman into marrying them, right? So like
Uh-huh.
did something right.
Yeah.
Uh but the whole bit I like truly believe in, and I think I'll eventually turn it into some level of a special because I think there men who've been married at least have some level of being willing to commit.
Yeah.
Where people who haven't been married, they don't. Like they and I don't think they may say they want it, but they're so far from it. It's
Well,
never gonna happen.
what touched me was when you said how you rescue dogs.
Yeah. I can rescue a man. I can.
Absolutely. I thought this is my girl. She's for me. I really need rescued. There is no hope in hell of that happening. You're safe, trust me.
Yeah.
No woman in her right mind would last with 10 minutes with me.
Honestly, like I some like I'm working on a bit right now because I ran into an ex-boyfriend of mine this
Okay,
past Sunday and we were just shooting the shit and he's like, "Oh, are you dating?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm like seeing someone." He's like,
right.
"Oh, are you still treating your boyfriends like employees?" And
Ooh,
I'm like,
ooh.
"Burn, fuck
Oh
you, but
yeah,
let me circle back
wow.
with you on that." Like, let's put a pin in it. I'll get back to
Hey, take it
circle back
easy,
with you on
chap.
that.
Nice seeing you, bud.
Pretty much. And then I had this moment of reflection. I'm like, I guess I kind of do. Like, yeah.
No, but obviously he
Shared
didn't follow
calendars,
obviously
all the
he didn't
things.
follow
Like,
the
I get
directions,
it.
or he'd still be your boyfriend.
I was like, maybe if you didn't do so bad on your quarterly review, we'd still be together.
Your
You would have
quarterly
been
review.
promoted the husband, but you were demoted and laid off.
Do you
And
have do you have a little, hey, how'd I do today?
well, yeah, I'd be like,
Is there
today
like
was
a checklist on the
good.
refrigerator? Scott
Stars,
did
like
not put the toilet seat down. Scott, you did not. There's a little checklist.
so it's all about the negotiations, what choice
I
you,
listen,
what I don't
listen.
have to do.
Even talking about this, we're probably going to get in trouble.
Meh, fuck
You
it.
know, I know.
I Well, I'll say this, and I think you've watched my sets on YouTube. So
Yeah.
my whole Theragun joke, I can't put on Facebook or TikTok. It got flagged.
Which one was it?
How I talk about how I use a Theragun as a vibrator.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It like YouTube, like if
Yeah.
when it was as a clip on YouTube, it got flagged. On TikTok itself, it got flagged, so it was removed, and then Instagram wouldn't let me do it.
Julie with a G, your comedy minute. Go ahead, my friend.
Yeah. So growing up, my mom, super naive, foreign, grew up in Staten Island, New York, huge family, 13 plus siblings. Um, they all lived under one roof in Staten Island. And like for the longest time, like I didn't know why she wanted us to move to Chicago, but she kept saying it's because she didn't want me to be around like the family business. And growing up, I was like, what is this family business? All I knew is it was cash only. So take that for what it's worth. And for like the longest time, I thought my uncle Kenny was a professional tennis player because I kept hearing the word racketeering all the time. But so instead, my mom moves us to the North Shore of Chicago, where essentially I'm surrounded by a bunch of white corporate pricks. Like, and because she was all about who you surround yourself with is like who you're going to become. And so
Okay.
instead, she surrounds me by these like very wealthy, successful men. But because she's from Elsbon, Albania, so she thinks basically anybody with a receding hairline and a tie is successful. But like they're not. She doesn't think about like the kids with abandonment issues or their cocaine addictions. And
Right.
I'll never forget, I was at a birthday party. I was like 9 or 10, and there was this guy, Mr. Wolf, who she was like obsessed with. He worked in the stock market, but he also had a pizza shop. And I remember he was like passing out these like little baggies with white powder. And I was like standing with my mom and I looked at him. I was like, Mr. Smith, what is that? And he's like, oh, it's Parmesan cheese. And I'm like 9, 10. I don't know any better. And my mom's like, oh, it's Parmesan cheese. So I'm like, oh, okay, it's Parmesan cheese. Like literally for the longest time, I thought, I'm like, okay, this is just like how these adults do that, right? Like, whatever. And I was maybe like 16 or 17. My boyfriend at the time busts out a bag of Parm, if you will, does a line. And I'm like, all right, wait a second. Like, it's not really Parm. It's obviously cocaine. And I like brought it up to my mom, and she's like, no, there's no way. There's no way men can work in finance and be successful and do cocaine. I'm like, Mom, like you grew up in New York. Have you not been to the financial district? That's like any man who works at Goldman Sachs. But it's just funny because like you fast forward me in college, I like started a magazine resale business. And she's like, see, I'm so glad. Like, had you not grown up around all these entrepreneurs and successful men, like you wouldn't have made it. I was like, Mom, these magazines are stuffed with fake IDs and Parmesan cheese. So I guess like I sometimes I'm like, thanks, Mom. You surrounded me by a higher class of criminal.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my comedy minute for you.
Cool. Oh my goodness.
My bubba. This is Dixon. He's 15, turned 16 in September, but he's a little chunk. Run away.
Adorable. Cool. Adorable.